Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Get Scared with Gracie. Happy New Year. I'm filming this on January 4th, so it's a little bit after the new year. Everything's been so crazy busy recently with all the holidays, but I hope everyone had a happy new year and 2026 feels like it's gonna be a really good year. So let's just see. Today I have some pretty exciting, scary stories for you guys. But before we get started, I have another blind box. This is a Stranger Things slime vial with a figure inside. And I don't know if there's it'll tell me options of who I get. But Stranger Things, the final episode, just came out on New Year's Eve. So I just finished that. It was crazy. If you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it. I have seen a lot of mixed opinions about it, but I really enjoyed it personally. Volume 1 was really good, and then Volume 2 was kind of terrible in my opinion, and then the finale episode was actually really good. I'm very happy with how it ended. I'm not going to give any spoilers or anything. It's taking me forever to open this. I don't know if this is going to be really messy because it's slime. Ooh. Ooh, okay. So that's weird. So it's just I think it's just a demo dog. Yeah, it's just a demo dog. And then the slime is actually separate. That's kind of disappointing. But I guess you're supposed to keep the slime with it in here. So that's pretty cool. I'll have to do that later because I'm worried about how the slime is gonna be. I don't know if it's gonna be actually good slime. I guess we can test it. Let's test it. There's a little pull tab here at the bottom. Oh, it's gonna be so messy, 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 messy. Ugh. Oh, okay. So it's not very liquidy. It kind of is. It feels really... looks like a booger. Like on Bedtime Stories, this stupid booger monster. Okay, I'm putting it in there. And guess what I'm gonna do? I don't know, that's pretty cool. I don't know if you can tell, but I did clear off my table a little bit over here. Just because there was a lot going on. I do like having a bunch of stuff, but I'm gonna actually be moving soon. So I'm trying to figure out what I can just put away, pack, downsize on, whatever. Yeah, so let's go ahead and read our Reddit stories. Our Reddit stories today are mostly gonna be ghost encounters or just paranormal encounters. That's one of the Reddit threads I found is r/paranormal encounters. First story is from 298 days ago, so not even a full year. I love that. My dad's brother had a lake house way far north near the Canada border. He was also an amateur astronomer and would wake us up at 3 a.m. to look at Saturn's rings and stuff through the telescope. Very cool. One night when I was about 15, it was hot and I couldn't get back to sleep, so I went out and sat on the dock. We had no AC back then. It was very dark, no moon, but zillions of stars. Aurora Borealis too. I was trailing my hand through the water when something grabbed it. It wasn't a fish nibbling on my fingers or anything like that. It was an actual hand wrapped around my hand. I yanked back before it could get a good grip and felt the fingers slide across my hand back into the water. And then I sat frozen, too scared to move, listening to the weird sounds from under the dock. I finally crawled back down the dock to dry land. I'd been swimming in that lake thousands of times, including at night, and never felt threatened or like I was unsafe. No idea what that was. That's terrifying. That would actually give me a heart attack. Maybe it was just like a fish or something like that and their mind was just playing tricks on them, but that's terrifying if that's actually true. This next story is pretty short. I feel like the last one was kind of short as well, but this one is from 301 Days Ago. From 2011 until 2022, I lived in a house with multiple spirits inhabiting that space. First it started with smells, noises, scratching and bumps and bangs, progressed to growling in my ear, physical hits on the head, rattling doors in the dead of night, running in the hallway outside my bedroom, lights going on and off, taps left running. Then the apparitions began. Physical assaults began, biting, scratching, being forced into the bed, things standing around the bed 6 inches from my face, hooded figures around 8 feet tall with burning red eyes, things coming through portals, trying to drag out my body, things climbing on the bed, trying to pull me out of the bed, throwing the duvet off me, being strangled. It is a place I never wish to return ever again. In the comments said, how did it stop? They said it didn't stop, it was much worse than what I disclosed. I moved from there. I literally packed what I could take to the place I moved and left everything else behind. Most of my possessions I just left. I feel sorry for whoever moves into that house. That just sounds like a horror movie, or maybe they're like schizophrenic or something. Maybe they're like seeing things and stuff. That's really terrifying though. That would be really scary. Either way, if you're imagining it or if it's real, that's like actually really scary. And like, you have to be in like such a dark place to be like imagining stuff like that. So either way, that's terrifying. This one sounds pretty good. It's from 300 Days Ago. First, I'm going to say that I'm very skeptical of this kind of stuff. But I have had one encounter that I cannot explain. It may not sound spine-chilling reading it, but it creeped me out and I still think about it all these years later. I was 15 years old and my mom, dad, and I moved to a new house out in the country. When we moved, my parents had brand new carpet put in the house before we moved in. Our third night there, it was just my mom and I, and my dad was gone for work. My mom was telling me goodnight, and as she was walking out the door, she stops and looks at the floor and said, "That's creepy." I get up and I looked. There is a full single small footprint in the carpet facing towards the doorway to my room. One footprint, and it was smaller than my mom's footprint and my footprint. We checked. It creeped my mom out and myself because brand new carpet, no one else had been in the house since we moved in except for us three, and the footprint was definitely not there the first 2 days we lived here. My mom is Old Testament religious and doesn't believe in that kind of stuff, but even now, 13 years later, when I bring it up, she refuses to talk about it. I often wonder where that footprint came from and who it belonged to. Someone commented, why are you skeptical if, based on your experience, such happened? It doesn't really make sense how they said that, but it's okay. Because even though there are things I can't explain, my brain just doesn't go straight to the paranormal explanation. I'm just not weird like that. Yeah. It's pretty terrifying and kind of unexplainable if none of your footprints matched. This Reddit thread has a lot of really good stories. This next story is from 192 days ago. One night, a friend and I were hanging out behind a Little Caesars drinking. As we were sobering up, she looked at me and asked if I wanted to see something crazy. I told her I absolutely did, as I was always up for seeing something crazy. However, my friend wasn't the type to do anything above just taking pictures of stray cats doing stupid things, so I figured this was one of those videos. She pulled up her photo gallery on her iPhone and showed me an early photo of her and another girl during recess. I studied the photo, trying to figure out what I was looking at. I looked at her confused and shrugged. I was confused. She looked at me and asked if I memorized the photo. I told her I did, I just didn't understand what the meaning was behind it. She held her hand up to me and told me to wait. She began furiously scrolling through her photo gallery, and when she found the photo, she showed it to me. It was a selfie with the same girl earlier, only this time they were in a classroom. I studied the photo again and could see the girl looked disheveled, dirty, weary, or homeless. I slowly looked up at her and clenched my teeth. I asked her what this photo was about and what the meaning behind it was. so I was ready to scold her over making fun of someone whose family was struggling during trying times. She began snickering, and I grew more impatient. She asked if I saw the picture, and I said I did. So? Well, my friend had shown her teacher, whom she was close with, that same photo she had shown me. The teacher was confused and troubled by the photo. When my friend asked why the teacher seemed disturbed, the teacher asked when the photo was taken. My friend replied with, "The same day you're seeing the photo." The teacher explained the girl in the photo was not supposed to be there. I theorized that the girl in the photo was dangerous and was not supposed to be there because she was expelled, and my friend paused and told me, no, she'd actually been dead for months. This is so scary. That's so scary. But I wonder if she, actually, she knew she was taking a picture with the girl. Like, she was still seeing the girl, as she was just there. And I wonder if they were close, and maybe that's why she was still seeing her after she died. But if she didn't even know that she was supposed to be dead, then that wouldn't really make sense, if they were very close. That's really odd. I want to know more details to that story, but there's no comments or anything under it. This story is pretty long. It's from 179 days ago. One time I went to the hospital to accompany my grandmother and pregnant aunt, who were both there for a checkup. We also brought my aunt's youngest child, a male kid around 2 years old during the time. While my grandma was in the doctor's office and my aunt was talking to the receptionist, I was watching over my cousin who was playing with a little girl around the same age. My aunt returned and the kids continued playing. I didn't pay much attention as nothing out of the ordinary was happening, but I tried starting a conversation with my aunt saying how adorable my cousin was playing with another child. And then she asked, "What child?" My cousin had been playing alone. No child in sight. Okay, now maybe there's a logical explanation to that, but we didn't speak about it until we were about to go home. We're still in the hospital. We went to the elevator, coming from the 3rd floor where the laboratory is, and pressed the ground floor button. Now, here's what's weird. It took a few seconds before the door opened, which is insane because we were coming from 2 floors above. Then, when the door opened, we were in a place that had no lighting, just natural light from what it seems to be a small window on the side of the room. There was also nobody there, no sounds, which is crazy because we're in a hospital building. We didn't get out of the elevator. We all just looked at each other, silent, then pressed the 3rd floor, trying to go back. Then it was normal again. But we realized upon getting out the elevator that we weren't on the same floor. I then immediately approached a security guard and asked, "Is this the 3rd floor?" And he asked, "Is this where you're going?" I replied, "Yes, we're trying to find the exit to the 1st floor." And he quickly called a nurse to assist us. We went around the room, and the nurse got us on the elevator again. Weird, right? Well, he pressed the same button we did the first time, and we arrived on the 1st floor, the door in front of us. We talked a little to the nurse, and he told us how people often get lost in this hospital. Apparently, the floor we were on earlier was going to the rooftop. That's pretty weird, but I just feel like it probably was just them getting lost. About the kid that was playing with her cousin, or his cousin or whatever, I feel like that's probably normal for a hospital to have spirits or whatever still there in the hospital. I mean, so many people die. Yeah. I just feel like that's pretty normal for a hospital setting. I mean, it's still scary, especially if you're seeing it and the cousin is obviously playing with the kid. Pretty creepy. The story's pretty short. It's from 163 days ago. I have a story while walking my 2 dogs in a historic cemetery. I always spoke to a young lady who passed away early in her life. Her name is Cleopatra. On one of our walks, my elder dog, Sassy, urinated on the base of her headstone. I was so upset, as I never let this happen. I respect all who resides in the cemetery. I apologized to Miss Cleo, as I called her. I then said if I had paper towel, I would wipe it up. Again, I apologized to her. Within less than 50 feet out of nowhere, this paper towel, perfect as if just pulled off the rack, I picked it up and went back, wiped off the base, and again thanked her and told her again that I was sorry. True story. It seems kind of weird. Her name's kind of wacky, and that's just really random, but I mean, if that's true, then that's cool. I don't know if you should be walking your dogs in a cemetery though. I don't think I would do that. I feel like, yeah, that's kind of disrespectful if they're peeing and pooping on stuff. Like, these are all really good stories, and there's so many more of them. I feel like I should do just another video of ghost stories, paranormal encounters, whatever, and just continue to read stories like this, because I have a couple more Reddit threads just like this one saved that have a ton of stories, and they're pretty recent and have a bunch of comments underneath. A lot of these stories don't have comments, but one of the other threads that I saved does. So maybe I'll just continue to do stories like this in a video. I have more ideas, but these are really interesting for me to read, and some of them are really chilling and scary. Just interesting, sad, some of them are really sweet. Like, I don't know, I really like reading stories like this. I'll read one more story, and this one's pretty long. It's from 159 days ago. When I was around 6 years old, I was staying the night at my grandma's with my 2 cousins and both my grandparents. For some quick background, I had always felt a little ill at ease in that house and never felt truly alone, even when I should have. The house always gave me the creeps. Anyway, that specific night, me and my cousin were asleep in what I called the blue room, which was right next to my grandparents' room, and my little cousin and my grandparents were asleep in their room. I remember waking up in the middle of the night and seeing that the lights were flickering. I was half asleep and dog-tired, so I didn't think much of it and just went back to sleep. That morning, I woke up with my face right on the edge of the bed, looked down at the floor, and saw a shattered light bulb on the floor. The light bulb had come from the ceiling fan and obviously had fallen. Mind you, if the bed was any closer to the middle of the room, the bulb would have hit me right in the face with the way that I was on the edge of the bed. It literally missed me by a couple of inches. Now, I was little and I didn't really think much about it and just called my grandpa to clean it up. As an adult, looking back, I find it kind of creepy. Light bulbs need to be twisted to come off, and even if it was loose for whatever reason, how could it have just fallen like that? And then I woke up in the middle of the night to see the lights flickering. I'm assuming that's right before the bulb fell, especially because the lights never flickered in that house, even when they were off. With that being said, while I was awake, I would have seen if someone was unscrewing the bulb, and I didn't. And there was no one in that house tall enough to just unscrew the bulb without a stool or a chair, except for my grandpa, and I know for a fact it wasn't him. I mean, seriously, why would it be? This specific room had something going on in it, or at least I think it did. But if there are any non-believers who can debunk the story, I would love to hear it. I do believe that there's always an explanation, but that's the one story I don't have one for. I really like that story and how it was told and how it was written. It's written very well, and I really like the ending where they're like offering a place for an explanation. I hate when people are just like whatever, they won't take anything else, like they're not skeptical at all. I like when people try to think of a logical explanation, and with that one it's really weird because it doesn't seem like it is, unless somebody was actually just sleepwalking and did unscrew the bulb, because yeah, light bulb, like in a ceiling fan, you would have to unscrew it. That was really weird. It wouldn't have just fallen unless, yeah, it was just really loose or something, but then why was the lights flickering if they were off? Because everyone's sleeping. That's really weird. I definitely don't have an explanation for that one. It's gonna be all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun reading these stories. I'm definitely gonna read more like this. I have a bunch of Reddit threads saved. Sometimes I will just try to look for the stories while I'm recording, but I found that takes a lot longer for me to find good ones, and later when I'm editing I really regret it because there's a lot I have to cut out and the videos tend to be a lot longer. And I hope you guys enjoyed me unboxing my demo dog. I think it's really cool. This is a really fun thing to just have sitting around. Also got that from Five Below. I get pretty much all of my blind boxes, surprise toys, whatever, from Five Below. I did go in there like a couple weeks ago and I just bought a bunch so that I wouldn't have to go back in for a while, because sometimes they don't really change it up. Like I was going in like for every video to get a new one, but they like didn't really change it up. So now I have like a few that I can use in my next couple videos, and then I'll go back and see if they have different ones. I hope everybody had a very happy new year and everybody got to celebrate with friends and family. And if you guys do have New Year's resolutions, I hope you stick to them and you have self-discipline and motivation. I haven't made any New Year's resolutions yet, and I really wanted to do like a vision board. Also still haven't made that yet. I'm thinking I will try to like by the end of this month, just so I can plan out my year and what I want to see happen in 2026. Well, I hope you guys have a good day, a good week, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.